Hey there. Welcome to the No BS Travel Advisor. This is the solo edition. Just me, Marcie Muensterman, my mouth, my mistakes, and the real stories from 19 years in this wild-ass industry. There will be no guests here. No censorship, no filters, just the truth behind how I burned out, rebuilt, and finally learned to run this business like the CEO that I am. And if you're an independent advisor who suspects your host might suck, hates working for free, and appreciates a well-placed F-bomb, you're in the right damn place. So let's go. Hey y'all, welcome back to the No BS Travel Advisor podcast. I am your hostess, Marcie Muensterman, and today I just want to say hi. I feel like I am back to podcasting, and in that exact moment, I now have anxiety that I have to keep up with podcasting. I've had a couple of chats with some of you that are super excited that I did a podcast last week, and I am too. It is July 2026, and I am currently running my signature course sale, which is an annual sale based on my birthday. I'm turning 46 in just a couple of weeks on July 27th, for those of you who care and are interested. But I do a sale every single year. This is my third year doing it based off of how old I am going to be. So currently, if you're listening to this in July of 2026, I have a 46% off sale of all of my signature courses. This podcast gives you so much insight into my brain and how it works and what I talk about and how I speak. And I coach to accountability. Do I believe in affirmations and manifestations? Yes. But none of that can happen without action, consistent overtime action. But when you're first learning a new skill, y'all, it takes some time to get into the habit and adjust it. The reason why I write my courses the way I do is because I want you to have a step-by-step insight into how I do it. And that is the reason I created all of my courses. I can help you figure it out because the people who put into play what works for them in combination with my strategies are fucking killing it. And the amount of testimonials coming out of all of my signature courses is insane. Even I am surprised sometimes how well it works for everyone who puts the work in, who wants to learn these strategies. Why am I saying all this? This isn't to say that I am perfect, that everything I do is awesome. It's that you have to want to learn from me. If you are not attracted to this style of coaching and teaching and the way I talk, which is very direct and also a little bit at a higher octave than most people. And if you come to me and ask a question, you're going to get a direct answer that's usually calling you out in some way, because so many of our own issues are because of how we behave. We do not want to take accountability or look in the mirror for the problems we have in our businesses. This goes for any business, but travel advisors specifically have issue with specific actions they need to be taking to be successful. And I hear it and see it every single day. And there are some core issues in our business that have never changed since I became a travel advisor. And it's because people don't realize how much work this is, how hard being a travel advisor is. And they think, I'm a good traveler. I love traveling. I've helped people book their vacations without pay. I might as well do this full time, or I might as well do this as a side gig. For those of us who understand entrepreneurship, we are here doing the work consistently, constantly, even when it's hard, especially in the early days, in that 3 to 5 year mark. It is fucking hard. It is exhausting. It feels like you're shouting into a void on social media. It feels like we've told everybody at least 1 million times. You haven't. I need to tell you that you haven't. And certain people are not right for this business. It's a sales business. And if you're not willing to grow your network, your personal network, and you're not willing, when you buy something, to actually implement it. And then when I say, hey, this is why it's not working for you, let's make these adjustments, and you don't want to, and you want to complain and come back and whine, I'm just going to stop helping. There's no reason to keep coaching and helping someone and giving people outside the box ideas to get to where they want to go when you don't want to listen. I am too direct for them. They don't like that I'm too much, too loud, too know-it-all. And here's the deal. I get out of bed for people who want to learn from me the way I had to teach myself those lessons. The idea is you don't have to follow the hardest path to success, especially if you're new. For veterans, it's going to be hard for you to turn it around sometimes because your habits are so locked in. And if you have bad habits, it's really hard to break those habits as someone who took years to break them. Regardless, change in business is hard. Changing your mindset, super hard. Believing in yourself, obviously hard. And trusting another person that you don't know very well with your business, abso-fucking-lutely difficult. I get it. But I'm really excited for all of my new students. Like, there's so many of you, and I'm so excited to meet you and get to know your businesses. And if you don't know, every single one of my courses comes with an exclusive private coaching space on Facebook. So once you invest, you also get ongoing support regardless of the course. So thank you for trusting me so quickly with your business. This past weekend was like walking on the surface of the sun in Florida until yesterday afternoon around 3:00 on Sunday. A huge storm rolled in and cooled everything off. I was at a super beautiful park in Clermont, Florida, with my daughter and her team. They made it to the finals. And if anyone has been following my journey on Facebook, you know that they have had a struggle winning. Just winning any game. Their wins to losses is abysmal, you guys. It's really bad. It's been a long season for the girls and for the coaches and ultimately for the parents because we spend all the money. We show up. We're there in the heat. We want them to win. We want it for them so bad. And they won their first tournament a couple of weeks ago. And unfortunately, Jude was not there because she has an elbow bone bruise injury. And we weren't sure she was going to get to play this weekend. He actually benched her for the first game. She pinched run for a couple of people, but didn't get any on-field playing time. And then in the second game, she went to him and said, "Hey, I want to play." And he said, "Okay," and gave her a shot. And she played and did awesome. But I do think he's worried about her re-injuring. So she did not get to play in the final game when we went to the finals. And unfortunately, they didn't win. So I know that sports references aren't always the best thing for everyone when it comes to entrepreneurship, but I really feel like these girls are such a representation of perseverance and tenacity and doing it when it's hard, showing up to these tournaments weekend after weekend, losing, not just losing sometimes, like getting their ass kicked. And then they have to show up less than a half an hour later for a back-to-back tournament game because you play anywhere from 2 to 3. Some of you guys are playing like 5 or 6 games a day. We don't do that, but a lot of teams do. If you're getting beat down literally in front of your family, I can't imagine it at this point in my life. Like, that's not something I would want to do. And these girls, they struggle. You can tell when they're struggling. You can see it on their faces. You can see it in their body language. And I equate that to the first 2 to 5 years of your travel business, y'all. But you're not going out onto a field exposed and getting beat. It's not happening. And if you cannot get yourself up every day and know exactly why you're a travel advisor and what you need to be doing and have a plan, you will keep getting beat down. You could get beat down even if you have a plan, just like in sports. They go out with a plan. They know how to do the things. We've seen it in practice. They do it often. And then they get beat down. And I know you think you're showing up for your business super consistently and still feeling like this, just feeling completely like everything is falling apart. Maybe it is. What I can say is I want to be more, and I want you to be more like the young women on my daughter's softball team. There is something beautiful about that moment when it shifts. And even though they didn't win the tournament this weekend, things are shifting. They won more games this weekend than sometimes they'd won in 5 tournaments combined this year. And you can feel that energy. It permeates off the field when they're out there. And the teams that play against them and lose are surprised because their record would indicate that they're terrible. But we know, as parents and coaches, we've seen it. They have all the tools. They have all the talent. And if they can just lock it in, we are not surprised that they're winning because we've seen them do the work. We show up with them at practice every week. We buy all their gear. We give them everything they need, lessons and going to camps. And we know they're putting in the work. We see them doing the plan, the team strategy. We know when coach is calling a bunt now. I've totally figured out when he's calling a bunt with all his hand motions. And we are not surprised that they got to the finals because that's what happens when you consistently show up. Eventually, something changes. You become different by showing up. Your confidence comes from showing up, not the other way around. Confidence is the hardest thing to maintain because it requires action, and showing up in your marketing is the only way anyone is going to know that you are in the travel business. And whenever I ask, what are you having the most challenges with right now in your travel business? Many of you say, client acquisition. I don't know where to find clients. I don't know how to get clients. And I ask you, well, what is your marketing plan? How are you marketing yourself? Social media? Okay, great. What social media? Which platform? What kind of strategy are you using? And when I ask those questions, they know where they are. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. They're on all these platforms, just throwing spaghetti out the wall. They don't necessarily have a marketing plan. Whenever I ask, where do you need more support? Social media, always social media. But each platform has its own algorithm, and literally getting a pot of spaghetti that's already cooked and throwing it at the wall and seeing what sticks. The problem with what sticks is it doesn't really give you any information about what is sticking, right? Because every platform's algorithm is different. I always advise not being everywhere and instead showing up in one platform that you believe your most aligned client is on and speaking directly to them consistently. And I don't mean once, 2, 3 times a week. I mean every day for a whole year. Planning your content around that particular aligned client and what they need to hear to see themselves in you and what you're offering. When I ask these types of questions, or I challenge you to think about how you are marketing yourself, and you just say social media, I want to know more about what that looks like. I want to see a couple of your posts. I want to hear from you on what you're actually sharing with them, because 9 times out of 10, you're trying to sell a specific product, brand. But why are we giving brands more free marketing? That's my first question. Second, what are you sharing about the brand? Is it their 777 deal? Is it 35% off all fall with free dining? Because if that's what you're doing, you're really cutting yourself off at the knees, because that marketing has nothing to do with you. You're just sharing more marketing for the brand that you are exposing to your audience. The more you do that, the more you plant the seed to go check them out, not check you out. That is why personal branding is so key and so important. And it's something I'm going to talk a lot about over the next year because I am writing a personal branding class for travel advisors. Definitely get excited, but not too excited because that shit is not coming out until next summer, 2027 summer. I really, really want you all to realize that there are a lot of things happening in your travel business that you do not have control over, but you have control over your messaging every single day. And y'all, you are not marketing enough. You are not talking about yourself enough. You are not sharing about your business enough. No one can get to know you because you refuse to get personal. You refuse to tell your story. And I'm not talking your travel story and why you joined a travel because you just love traveling to Disney and you just want to help all the people and make sure they have the best vacation at the cheapest and best deals. Fuck this noise. That is not your story. Your story is the tough moments that brought you to this place where you are right now that helped you make the decision to become a travel advisor. And the more you are willing to share about that version of yourself, the more people can connect with you and they will trust you with their bookings. And that shit takes fucking forever. And it feels hot and miserable, like 110-degree fucking ball field on a Saturday afternoon while you're getting your ass kicked. That's what it feels like. But if you refuse to do it, if you refuse to show up so that your aligned client can see you for who you are in this industry, you're just going to keep getting your ass kicked. So it could take 6 months, it could take 2 years, it could take 4 years, and you could still be sitting there in the hot Florida sun getting your ass kicked if you do not make effort and change to how you are approaching your business. And that is what we saw this weekend on the ball field. We saw different effort. We saw change. There were changes made that helped us win. Decisions to re-strategize and come back out stronger. And yes, we still lost in the final. You still might lose sometimes. That's how it goes. But guess what? We have another fucking tournament this weekend in the hot Florida sun. They're going to practice and Jude's going to go to private lessons. She's going to keep showing up even with a bruised fucking bone injury. Because that's what you do. If you want something, that's what you fucking do. You show up anyway. You show up when no one is cheering. And trust me when I say, you can tell when shit is getting hard in that dugout because they get quieter as a team and we get quieter as their fans. We get quieter. So I know how quiet it is. I have been there. I have built multiple businesses, not just travel business. Somebody sent me a message like last week that said that someone in another group was claiming there's no way I could have been doing this for 20 years. And it's because they knew I also was a Cabi stylist for 10 years. I don't know who said it, okay? But the person who sent me the information was basically like, she was just so adamant that she knew all this stuff about you and that there was no way you could have been a travel advisor this long. And I don't know if it's like she doesn't know how old I am. I have been working since I was very young, but I started my travel business in my mid-20s. So that means I am now 20 years older than that. And I have never not told my story. So you know I was a Cabi stylist for 10 years. If you're listening, if you're paying attention. And I share that I took 3 years off travel. So whether or not it's 15 years, 17 years, 20 years, however you want to run the fucking numbers on my business, go right ahead. I dare you to call me a liar. I have been at zero, never had a client, and built from scratch my travel business and my Cabi stylist business. And I used to waitress at a dive bar in Indianapolis where had no customers, but always made the most money because I maximize my bottom line and my time, guys. The one big talent, my superpower is maximizing my time and bottom line. And I'm never going to stop. And now I have a coaching business where no, I'm not fucking accredited. Okay. I've never taken a coaching certification. But I have trained myself to coach you. I have hired coaches, so I know what it's like to be coached. I also know how to teach, inspire, uplift, encourage, and I do all of that every fucking day and have been for a very, very long time. I have been training travel advisors since 2008. I have been helping travel advisors succeed. And yes, I did take 3 years off, but during that time, I built another business in my Cabi business and I fucking rocked it out. Okay. I won a huge award in my last year at Cabi while I was a travel advisor doing both. And that was the same year I started to see my 6-figure number come to life in travel again because I had so many strategies in place for both of my businesses. 2022 was probably one of my most successful entrepreneur years I've ever had. So if you want to try to undermine my experience, go right ahead. Because if you haven't noticed, I always get up and do the fucking work. I never stop putting myself out there and showing up, even when I'm being talked shit about. And I always find out, by the way, because my people always tell me what is being said, both good and bad. So if they're not on your team, they're in the fucking cheap seats and they need to stay there. Sit their asses down and either learn to cheer or get out of the stadium. Also, don't come back to the stadium when I start winning, right? When you start winning, you still need to keep those people out of your stadium. It is okay for your people to not support you. It is okay for your friends and family to not hire you. You have the choice with how you handle and react to that. And I admire perseverance. I admire the advisors who get up and do that shit anyway, even when they're unsupported. I admire telling people to get out of my space, off my field, and even out of the cheap seats. Just leave. Just remove those people. Because if you're also holding yourself back because you're worried about what other people think, they need to be removed. I don't care who it is, your mom, your sister, your agency owner. If you are getting unsupported vibes from anyone, they need to be removed from the place where you are building. So if you're building your business in a Facebook group, they do not need to be there. They don't even need to be connected to you on social media. That's the beautiful thing about it. We get to decide all of the time, every single day, who is connected to us. And that is our network. And some of your friends and family do support you, but they may never hire you. We want their network, so stay connected to them. And support looks different across the board. It's not cut and dry. You can't expect support in dollars. You just can't expect that. Especially when you're new, people need to trust you. And that trust takes show up anyway. When you are showing up, and some of you may not know exactly what that looks like. What does showing up look like? It means putting yourself out there on your preferred social media platform in some way every single day and not always about travel. It means commenting genuinely on your network's experiences that they share. It means adding new friends, I'm putting that in quotation marks, into your personal networks so they can get to know you before you try to sell to them. It means going into hobby groups and local neighborhood groups and just helping, not even with travel, with restaurant recommendations, with hair salon recommendations, with the best place to get a pedicure. There is so much more to marketing than just what you sell. It's allowing people closer to you to get to know you, even living in the judgment. Because you won't always know when someone's judging you. Most of the time, you don't know, actually. So why not just do it anyway? What are you most afraid of when you put yourself out there? And what's the absolute worst that can happen? And then decide if you can handle the worst possible thing. And think about the worst possible thing that's already happened to you in your life. And yet, here you are. There is nothing easy about running a travel business. But if you are willing to choose a path and stick to it for longer than a few months, by the way, none of us got good at anything in just a couple of months. Your future self will thank you a year from now, because there are travel advisors out there who aren't as good at this as you, who don't provide amazing service like you do, who have less knowledge on the brands that you love. yet they are selling travel. Why? Because they show up in front of their aligned audience a lot more than you do. They genuinely put themselves out there 2 to 3 to 7 times more than you do. You need to start being so real with yourself when it comes to the marketing that you do not have to be everywhere, but wherever you choose to be, you have to do it way more than you think. I used to say marketing only takes up about 10% of the hours that we work. Because generally speaking, that's about how long per week you'd have to invest in the strategy part of your marketing. But then now I've realized as I learn, as I coach and teach and talk to you, you need to really be mentally prepared to be thinking about marketing 80 to 90% of your time. And I'm not saying you sit down 80 to 90% and market. I'm saying creating buzz around your business requires a lot of thought, a lot of strategy. Some of you complain you hate creating content, like you despise it. Well, when you hate something, it's going to be hard to do it. So if you're not willing to hire it out, then you have to change your mindset. If you don't change your mindset, you're never going to do it because most of us don't do things we don't like to do, which means if you hate creating content, your marketing is going to suck because people can feel when you're disingenuous in your content or when you're just throwing it together with artificial intelligence and thinking, that's cute, I'll use that. People fucking hate that. It's ugly. Stop doing it. They want to get to know you 100 times over. I'd rather you post a selfie with whatever you're trying to share than anything in fucking AI. It's bad, guys. It's really, really bad. So stop doing it. It's also lazy. It may not feel lazy. Like you might be like, oh, I gave it 55 prompts. I spent an hour making this. You didn't make anything. And whether you spend a lot of time trying to get it to make it the right way, you could have been literally creating easy, seamless content about yourself instead of trying to get magic from ChatGPT. We've got to use AI for the right things. And that is not fake images of you on a beach holding a cartoon margarita. We need to focus on what actually moves our marketing forward. And that is your face, your voice, your story. Let's discuss what marketing your travel agent business actually means. This is the AI overview. So if you actually ask Gemini, what does marketing your travel agent business mean? It says, marketing your travel agent business means building awareness, trust, and desire for your services. It shifts your focus from just booking trips to actively showcasing your unique expertise, ensuring that ideal clients know exactly why they should hire out your services instead of booking online themselves. The core marketing strategies for travel agents include brand identity and niche, defining exactly who you serve to avoid blending in with a broader market, and then digital presence. It says maintain a professional website and active profiles on visual platforms like Instagram or Facebook. So for me, that equates to making sure your personal profile is activated, okay? The tip here is make sure you have a recent, real photo of yourself in the profile photo of your personal page, not a business Facebook page, a personal Facebook page with your actual name, not with travel agent behind it. That's not how personal pages should be used. It needs to have your name, who you are, and your face recent within the last year. It can be a really cute selfie of you on your porch. It doesn't have to be you in destination. And then update and edit the caption attached to that profile picture to talk about your business using AEO and SEO search words in that caption that lead them somewhere you want to connect with them, whether that's your Facebook group, your Instagram, or your website. This digital presence needs to be consistent across platforms. So if you are on other platforms like Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, your name with travel agent should be everywhere on every single profile opportunity. If you are comfortable, also sharing your location would not hurt here, because when people are searching, the AEO and SEO are constantly pulling data. And the more consistent you are across all of these digital spaces with how you describe yourself, with your name, your agency name, and your location, that you're a travel agent, all of this combined consistently over time will build a digital full footprint of you. Now, I know a lot of you like to use your logo for your Instagram or your logo for your Facebook page. I am very anti-logo when it comes to getting to know you. You can put the name of your agency as your Instagram professional profile, but your name should be directly under it on the profile. I can't show it to you because this is a podcast, but it should be like Escape Travel and Tours is the name of your business. That can be your profile name. And then right directly underneath of it, you can edit that to say your actual name. In my case, it's the No BS Travel Advisor. And then underneath, it says Marcie Muensterman. Okay. And then I use my face and everything. So it has a picture of my face, not my logo. People don't connect with logos, you guys. And you are not a Starbucks. You are not a McDonald's. You do not have a recognizable logo when you're using Canva to create a palm tree and an ocean as your logo. Stop. Use your face in every single platform. From there, you need consistent content creation in your marketing. Yes, you should give value through travel tips and just booked information to let people know what you book. But you also need to allow them into your world. If you're someone who does Facebook group, private Facebook group, not public Facebook group, private, then I highly recommend investing in First Class Community, because that is my course on how to run a private Facebook group. I encourage everyone to give it a year with the content I provide you, which recently someone counted up the engagement posts alone, and it's almost 500 copy and paste engagement posts. That does not include my expertise post prompts, my education post prompts, and my personal post prompts, because you do need to bring the personal into the conversation wherever you are going to be. And I believe Facebook groups is the best place to do this, because if you build it out as a private space, then it is in fact private. Only people you allow in can see what you are posting. It's not to say nothing would ever get shared, so obviously don't post anything you would never want to be shared. And personal posts don't mean like opening an artery and bleeding all over your group. It means being honest, being yourself, bringing your authentic voice. If you cuss, you can cuss here. If you really hate a specific brand, you can post about it here. You can give a bad review to a cruise line here. You can do whatever you want, because this is your space, your living room that you're inviting people in. What else that does is give permission to your most aligned clients to be their most authentic selves, to laugh with you, to share with you, to cry with you. Once you have that, if that's set up correctly and your membership questions are obtaining emails, which you should always be doing, because every single platform is not our own, right? We don't own anything that we've given Meta. Then you can start an email marketing campaign after about a year. You can collect these emails for a while and then eventually download all the emails and start automating personalized newsletters at least once a week, not once a month, once a week, to share exclusive opportunities, additional value on different things, updates to passports, updates to anything happening in your niche. This is where you maintain that ongoing relationship, so you stay top of mind all the time for future trips. But if you only send one of these a month, imagine your junk mail, guys. Imagine the email that you use for junk. because that's the email they're probably going to give you. So even though it's valuable to have an email, they're probably giving you a shitty email. Then you've got to send more than one a month. Otherwise, it just gets buried in all the Old Navy, TJ Maxx, Shoe Carnival emails, because they send emails 4 or 5 times a day sometimes. Once you have this foundation for your marketing, which can take upwards of a year to build, that is when you get to leverage word of mouth referrals, because you have been relationship building for 2 years. This is where you can really start to talk in your marketing, owning the authority of how you show up. One of the things you need to be thinking about is specific type of travel. A lot of you don't like the word niche. You don't want a niche. You love to sell everything. You want to learn about everything. And I totally understand that. I've really been thinking about that perspective on how to market when you want to do a lot of things. It's less about exactly what that thing is and more about how you are sharing your travel business about yourself. And if you do happen to sell everything, you do have to be careful not to confuse your audience. I want you to be thinking about, what do I want them to 1000% know about me? What do I want to be known for inside of my own business as the best part of the business? What do I offer my audience that is because I am who I am? What is it that makes you specifically special? And the one thing I can think of is one of my longest coaching clients is also my dearest TA bestie, is Farron Gustafson. She's going to be like, you did not pronounce my name right. She has gone from just being a specialist in Disney, selling everything that her clients wanted, 2-day tickets, off-site locations, to becoming a specialist around children with autism. If she ever wants to expand beyond Disney, she can, because she can start promoting how to do all kinds of travel with children who have autism. And I think this is so incredibly special as something that Farron is so amazing at. And so when I hear of a friend who wants to learn how to travel with their family, but their youngest son has autism, I immediately just want to give them over to Farron. I trust her. She's done all of the work to become a specialist. Her son has autism, and it is like the best connection I would want to make for my people. It means she is known for something else besides selling travel. This is who I am as a mother. This is who I am when I wake up every day. And that is what makes her very specifically specialized. So maybe your niche is not a destination. Maybe it's not a brand. Maybe your niche is within you in your everyday life. And so I want you to really be thinking about that in your marketing. And then you really need to maximize the free organic methods, the social media platforms. And I know a lot of you don't like social media, but you need to change your mindset. You have to change your mindset, because regular marketing on social media, like, that's just where we are. And you have to get on board if you are growing your business. If you are a thriving veteran agent with shitloads of referrals, word of mouth, because you've been building this shit since the early 2000s, maybe you don't need to be on socials. I don't know. I can tell you from a person who was around in the early 2000s, it is so crux to have social media in my corner to maintain my relevance and authority in the travel industry with my past clients. Because if you're not engaging them, they will forget about you, because there is somebody out there right fucking now engaging them daily. Somebody that you have no worries about, because there's no way your past clients would ever be disloyal. Are you fucking kidding me? You cannot get into a flow of booking requests if you are not doing the work of getting your name, your voice, your expertise, your knowledge out into the world as often as you can humanly stand it, which is probably 7 times more than you are right now. And it's probably 7 times more than you want to do it. But you need to go connect and grow your personal network. And then bring your energy to a social platform that you enjoy using. So if you enjoy scrolling on Instagram and watching reels, maybe that is where you go. If you spend all of your time in Facebook groups, then that is where you go. If you're like, nope, I just love TikTok and I know that's where my people are, go to TikTok. It's not my first choice, but have at it. Then you have to nail down your messaging. You have to know exactly what you want to say every single day so that your aligned client finds you helpful, funny, energetic, kind, easy to work with. They will start to understand why they should hire you instead of doing it themselves. Bring real value. When you are ready, you absolutely need a professional website. And you also need a professional email to match the website, which you can get before you have a website. You can get your domain locked down and then hook up a professional email to Google. And it should not be your host agency's email. Your host agency should not own your email. You can use their email for vendors and supplier conversations, but you need your own professional email for your conversations with your prospects and your clients. Everything needs to be tied back to you. But if you don't have an online presence in correlation with websites through a social media platform, you're reducing your credibility. People Google you, and then they also go to social media to look for you. So you need to be somewhere. Eventually, not right away, eventually, you can start creating blog posts that come from your old marketing that you've already done the work on and start reutilizing all of this. Like I said, just like with the newsletters, you can start connecting all this work that you've done the first couple of years together to continue to build this footprint of marketing that keeps you relevant and sustains you over time. But consistency is what makes the difference. And when you're utilizing social media, you have to be consistent with not only creating the content, but also interacting with, responding directly to the comments that are made every single time. Blocking time to do that is super important. Most of you know this, but for those of you who are new here, if you ask a question in Maximize, it goes into the pending column. And I am the only person who approves those questions. And I only approve them when I have time to sit down and actually respond to you. I respond to every single pending post in a group with 15,000 people every single day. And I know one other person who does this, and she is super successful at what she's built, and that is Lori Gold. And actually, I know 2 people. My other amazing friend who has her own travel agent coaching business is Mary Beth Lynn. All 3 of us, we do not allow posts to be posted until we have time to sit down and respond to every single post. Lori's group has 30,000 agents in it. The amount of time we spend helping you, you have to do that for your prospects. But you don't need to recreate the wheel every time you create content. You can take one piece of content and turn it into 5 fresh posts. Really think about repetitive posting because people need repetition. They need to hear something 12 to 32 times. I know that's a broad number, but that's what I'm reading. It's like every time I go to find statistics on how many times somebody needs to see your content and connect with your content, like I think last year I read it was 12. And then this year I know I read an article that was 32 because it got stuck in my head. And if I could find it, I would share it in the sources. But trust me, it doesn't really matter. It's a lot of fucking times that you have to get in front of somebody consistently for them to even consider hiring you. So repeated content is not bad. It's great. I create content calendars. There's 4 right now available in First Class Community. And I tell you guys constantly to just reuse them. Start over at 1 every single month. And you hate it. You do not want to. because you're like, no, they're going to remember I posted that last month. I'm like, on what planet will they remember that? Most of them didn't even see it. But if you've grown by 100 people in the last month, then those people definitely didn't see that day one post. Post it again, post it again, post it again. Just keep posting. Just keep swimming. Sorry, the ADHD is real. Go back to your old content, gather it all up, put it in a Trello. Yeah, that takes time. Marketing takes time. But if you want to grow with new prospects, you have to market. If you want to maintain relationships with past clients, you have to market. And if you want to truly connect in a relationship situation with your clients, you have to market you and share you all the time, every single day. I know it's a lot, but the reason most of you do not have the clients you want is because you refuse to market as much as you should be marketing. You are not marketing enough. You absolutely, that's the only place in your business that you're not enough. Everywhere else, you're enough. You're deserving. But if you are not marketing the way I am talking about marketing, then you are not doing enough to get to the gold in all the dirt that is out there. Trust that it takes time. Trust that it's going to be quiet. That the people who are excited for you the first couple of weeks when you launched, they don't care about this anymore. They have moved on because it's not their business. It's your business. And if you want to stay in front and earn clients' trust, you have to show fuck up way, way, way more than you actually have time and energy for. That means you have to make time, build energy, know your why, because that should be what gets you out of bed every day. And if you don't know why you're getting out of bed every day for this job, then I need you to really take a good, long, hard look at why you keep doing that. People who are successful in this business fucking love it. They are obsessed with it. They are passionate about it. They don't care if people are judging them. They do it when there's no one fucking cheering. When it's 110 degrees out there on the field and they're sweating through 4 layers of uniform. When their own colleagues and teammates are looking at them like, you have lost your mind. That is when they can feel the pivot, the change. And if you're not willing to do that, I don't know if this will work for you. In fact, I would say in my expertise, it won't work for you. And you have to stop being a baby about it. Okay, I know this was a lot. I know I can be a lot, but I will always be a lot because I am everyone's big sister around here. I am Tell It Like It Is. And that's why you miss my podcast. So get your ass out there and go market the shit out of yourself. Be so obsessed with yourself. Tell everyone what you do and why. Okay. Love you. Bye. Hey, y'all. This is the end of another No BS Travel Advisor podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I am Marcie Muensterman, and I am not your lawyer. I am not your accountant. That is my disclaimer. I am a coach and mentor with 20 years of sales experience. And if you love this episode, please leave me a 5-star review because it means so much to me. If you have any questions, you also know you can hit me up in the DMs at any time. All right, guys. Love you. Bye.